Picture this, a courtroom in America, 1947. Many members of Hollywood's best and brightest are on trial, not for violent crimes, but for the crime of free will. Did this really happen? It did. Now we take you to the courtroom of the House Un-American Committee and to the testimony of John Howard Lawson. Has this strong, famous man done anything wrong? In America, he might not have, but you are not in America anymore. You have now stepped into the Scarlet Realm. Mr. Chairman, I have a statement here that I wish to make.
All right, let me see your statement. I don't care to read this statement anymore.
You have spent 1 week vilifying me before the American public.
Now, just a minute.
And you refused to allow me to make a statement on my rights as an American citizen.
I refuse you to make the statement because of the first sentence in your statement. That statement is not pertinent to the inquiry. Now, this is a congressional committee set up by law. We must have orderly procedure, and we are going to have orderly procedure. Miss Stripling, identify the witness.
The rights of American citizens are important in this room here, and I intend to stand up for those rights, Congressman Thomas.
Mr. Lawson, will you state your full name, please?
I wish to protest against the unwillingness of this committee to read a statement when you permitted Mr. Warner, Mr. Meyer, and others to read statements in this room. My name is John Howard Lawson.
What is your occupation, Mr. Lawson?
I am a writer.
How long have you been a writer?
My whole life. About 35 years. My adult life.
Are you a member of the Screenwriters Guild?
The raising of any question here in regard to membership, political beliefs, or...
Mr. Chairman.
is absolutely beyond the powers of this committee.
Mr. Chairman.
But it is a matter of public record that I am a member of the Screenwriters Guild.
I want to caution the people in the audience. You are the guests of this committee, and you will have to maintain order at all times. I do not care for any applause of any demonstrations of one kind or another.
Now, Mr. Chairman, I am also going to request that you instruct the witness to be responsive to the question.
I think the witness will be more responsive to the question.
Mr. Chairman, you permitted...
Never mind.
Witnesses in this room to make answers of 3 or 4 or 500 words to questions here.
Mr. Lawson, you will please be responsive to these questions and not continue to try and disrupt these hearings.
I am not on trial here, Mr. Chairman. This committee is on trial here before the American people. Let us get that straight.
We don't want you to be on trial.
Mr. Lawson, how long have you been a member of our Screenwriters Guild?
Since it was founded in its present form in 1933.
Have you ever held an office in the Guild?
The question of whether I have held office is also a question which is beyond the purview of this committee. It is an invasion of the right of association and the Bill of Rights of this country.
Please be responsive to the question.
It is also a matter of public record.
You asked to be heard. Through your attorney, you asked to be heard, and we want you to be heard. And if you don't care to be heard, then we will excuse you, and we will put the record in without your answers.
I wish to frame my own answers to your questions, Mr. Chairman, and I intend to do so. It is absolutely beyond the power of this committee to inquire into my association in any organization.
Mr. Lawson, you will have to stop or you will leave the witness stand, and I will place you in contempt. And if you were just trying to force me to put you in contempt, you won't have to try much harder. You know what has happened to a lot of people that have been in contempt of this committee this year? Don't you?
I am glad you have made it perfectly clear that you are going to threaten and intimidate the witnesses, Mr. Chairman. I am an American, and I am not going to be intimidated, and don't think I am.
Mr. Lawson, just quiet down again. Mr. Lawson, the most pertinent question that we can ask is whether or not you have ever been a member of the Communist Party. Now, do you care to answer that question?
You are using the old technique which was used in Hitler Germany in order to create a
Is that true now?
in order to create an internally false atmosphere in which the hearing is conducted.
Excuse the witness.
As they do, from what I have written,
Stand away from the stand.
I have written Americanism for many years and shall continue to fight for the Bill of Rights.
Officers, take this man from the stand. Take this man from the stand. There will be no demonstration. No demonstrations against. Everyone will please be seated.
John Howard Lawson, Alvah Bessie, Herbert Biberman, Lester Cole, Edward Dimitrich, Ring Lardner Jr., Albert Maltz, Samuel Ornitz, Adrian Scott, and Dalton Trumbo. These men are known as the Hollywood 10, and the video you have just seen was a reenactment of John Howard Lawson's testimony to the House Un-American Committee on October 27, 1947. Lawson, as well as the others' testimony, ultimately got them arrested and put into federal prison for contempt of court. You will also see actual excerpts from the testimony of Dalton Trumbo and Herbert Biberman. You will witness the chairman getting upset and trying to stifle their free speech, but both men persevere.
Mr. Biberman, are you a member of the Screenwriters Guild, or have you ever been a member of the Screenwriters Guild?
Now, Mr. Stripling, I would like to reply to this very quietly. Mr. Chairman also. If I will not be interrupted, I will attempt to give you a full answer to this question. It has become very clear to me that the real purpose of this investigation...
That is not... Ask him the next question. Ask him the next question. Mr. Biberman. Mr. Biberman. Go ahead, ask Mr. Biberman. Are you a member of the Communist Party, or have you ever been a member of the Communist Party? Are you a member of the Communist Party? Are you now, or have you ever been a member of the Communist Party?
It is perfectly clear to me, gentlemen, that if you continue in this particular
Mr. Chairman, will you direct the witness to answer that question?
You must answer the question. And that is to cause strife in the industry.
You're excused.
Chaos in the industry.
Will you direct the witness to answer that question, Mr. Chairman, before he leaves his stand?
I have not refused to answer the question. I told you before I will answer this question
now, Mr.
fully.
Biberman,
Your purpose is to use this to disrupt the motion picture industry, to invade the right not only of me, but of the producers to their thoughts, to their opinions, and this I will not permit.
You a member of the Screenwriters Guild?
Mr. Stripling, the rights of American labor to inviolably secret membership lists have been won in this country by a great cost of blood and a great cost in terms of hunger.
Are you now, have you ever been a member of the Communist Party?
Chairman, first I should like to know whether the quality of my last answer was acceptable, since I am still on the stand.
This had nothing to do with your last answer or the last question. This is a new question
I
now.
see. Mr. Stripling, you must have some reason for asking me this question.
You can address the
You
committee.
do. I understand that the members of the press have been given an alleged Communist Party card belonging to me. Is that true?
No, that's not true.
You're not asking the question.
I was.
The chief investigator's asking the
I beg your
question.
pardon,
Now, are you or have you ever been a member of the Communist Party?
I believe I have the right to be confronted with any evidence which supports this question. I should like to see what you have.
Oh, well, you would.
Yes.
Well, you will pretty soon. The witness.
The real history of California is complex and filled with stories of both success and failure, power and oppression, interaction and conflict, extraordinary and ordinary individuals, environmental conservation and destruction. You can see this by the fact that the Hollywood 10 weren't trying to be extraordinary men, but they did an extraordinary thing. They stood up for social justice.